Hi everyone, this is going to be my Magical Readathon wrap up. This is going to be where I give my review after every single book that I read, so buckle up. It's going to be quite the month. It is currently September 2nd, and I've already finished my first book. I read Dungeon Crawler Carl, book number 1 by Matt Damon, I believe. Damon? Matt? I don't know his last name. He's so popular, I'm sure you already know who I'm talking about. It was amazing. I was so nervous. So nervous because I have so many friends that absolutely love this. My friend Allie and Tyler, it's like their obsessions. And I was so afraid that I was gonna not like it. And then I was like, I'm not even gonna be able to be friends with them anymore because I'm gonna like not like their favorite book. But it's fine because I actually ended up loving it. It's so funny. It's so funny. On top of having a really great plot, it's so funny. Like there was so many moments where I genuinely like laughed out loud. And like my boyfriend was like, "What are you laughing at?" And I was like trying to tell him about it, and he goes, "That doesn't make any sense." I was like, "You just need to read it. You just need to read it." So I was like, I was listening to the audiobook for the first one. I was like, "I'll play you some of the audiobook stuff." And he was like, "Okay, I'm also intrigued now." So I might have just gotten my boyfriend on the DCC train. But it's so good. I literally like my first impressions of this book is that it was hilarious and it's so interesting. I still do a really bad job explaining what it's about because it's like hard to explain, but essentially the main character lives with his girlfriend who's cheating on him, and they have like a cat. She has a cat that he's watching, and they broke up, but she couldn't come back and get the cat yet, so he was watching the cat until she could return to get the cat. Well, one night the cat escapes out the window and he has to go outside and fetch the cat, and he goes in like pink Crocs that don't fit him, his boxers, and a leather jacket. And while he is outside getting the cat, all of the buildings just collapse because essentially like the end of the fucking world is happening. Like this, it's hard to explain what causes this. It's a lot easier just to read about, but essentially like anyone that is inside at the time that this happens are all dead. You only survived if you were outside. Like if you were under any kind of structure, you're fucked. Like you had to be completely out in the open to survive because everything just crumbled, and this beings want to mine the planet of Earth of like all the valuable resources, and they give them the options of either staying up top where there's like no one really alive, no food sources, no materials, or they can go down into the dungeon and compete for like 18 levels, and it gets harder and harder, and there's bosses. And this guy is just literally in the Crocs and his boxers and a leather jacket with a cat, and he's like, you only get an hour to decide, so he just goes down to the dungeon. Really doesn't know what he's getting himself into. Like as a reader, we also don't know what he's getting himself into. I think that's something that I enjoyed about this book a lot is that you find out the stuff when the main character is finding it out. Like you're learning with him. Because sometimes you read books where it kind of like assumes that you already know what's going on, or like the main character already knows and they're just like telling you like after the fact. We're literally learning with him. So like it's so interactive to me. Like I felt like I was like right beside him, like going down there with him. And the cat is also hilarious, and it's just so many funny moments. So that's like the whole gist of the book, and it's like an RPG sci-fi kind of book. And I ended up giving it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I listened to the audiobook, and I loved the sound effects, and I also loved the person that was narrating the book. They had like the perfect voice for the character, and I love the new achievement sound. Like it really gave me serotonin to hear that throughout the book. It generally was really good, and I would highly recommend it. The issue is, I didn't plan on reading the rest of the series this year. I was like, oh, well, this book fits a prompt for Magical Readathon. I'll just read book 1 in September, and I'll get the other books in January 2026 or later in 2026. And now I'm obsessed, and now I want to read all of them. I really did the math to see how much it would cost to get the rest of the audiobooks. It's over $100. But I don't think I can wait until 2026. I think I might have to try to fit them into my TBRs for the rest of the year. There is 7, so like maybe a couple every month. I don't know, I'll figure that out, but I need more. Like I wasn't expecting to like it so much, to be honest. Even with Allie telling me how good it was, I was like, that's not really my type of book. I don't really like D&D. I don't really, it's like essentially Dungeons and Dragons, but like with a plot that follows like the main character and the cat, and it's not really like a whole party yet, at least not yet. Like I know D&D you have a campaign. This is more like a storyline that follows two specific people and has a lot of boss fights. It has a lot of fighting in it, but it also is funny and it's also a little sad. And I can't wait to see what happens next in the books. But now I'm like deeply regretting my choice to not read the other ones. But I do think if I continue, I think I'm gonna have to try to get the audiobooks. They're so good. The guy who narrates the book sounds like Kronk from the Disney movie. And I had to Google, it's not him. He just somehow sounds so much like him. And he narrates all the characters, but yet they don't sound the same. He's extremely talented. I could go into a whole lecture about this book, but I won't. I'll keep it nice and short and easy. This was the first book that I read in September, and it's 5-star. So it's kicking it off great. Okay. Hi. I just finished Curses and Cold Brew by Ellie K. Munford, and I'm going to be giving it 4 stars. This is the second book in the Maple Hollow series, and it's really cute. It's like fall based. It has like the monster side of things, and it's cute and it's sapphic. I just don't think that it like met my expectations based off the cover and the title, but I'll get to that in a second. Let me tell you what it's about. This follows a witch who makes a deal with a demon that for their help, they'll go on one date with them because the demon's like into the witch. Well, the other side of this thing is that the demon does deal in souls. Like, it'll be like, oh, like, give me your soul and I'll make you rich. Give me your soul and I'll make you famous. Well, her souls start disappearing. Like, when the people die, she goes to collect the souls and they're just not there. Like, someone's stealing her souls. So she's like, what the heck? So she asks the help of the witch who already made a deal with her to help her, and then they can also go on a date still. And it was like a really cute premise, but the reason why I'm not giving it 5 stars is because literally Cold Brew is like in the title, and I was expecting it to be like a cafe romance, and like it's not. It's a apothecary keeper witch and a demon who collects souls. The only thing that has to do with coffee is that the demon can only drink cold drinks because she's like from hell and she's always on fire. So she doesn't drink hot drinks. She always drinks cold drinks. So I get that like they were doing that for like the witch. So like the witch is the curses and the demon is the cold brew. But like in my mind, I was like, oh, this book must be about coffee and curses. I was like, she must work at the cafe. Like, I must have to do something with something that's bigger than just a personality trait. And it wasn't. It was just a personality trait. Like, she only drinks cold drinks, and that's it. And I just think that was silly just to have that be why. Like, I thought it should have taken a bigger part of the book. But it's cute. Like, I would continue reading the rest of the series. And there's lots of hints into who could get with who, and I think it's really cute. And they're, like, only 212 pages, something like that, so it was really fast to read. I read it all in one stream, and I would recommend if you want like a silly, fun, goofy time. It was my first fall book of 2025, and hopefully they're like better from here on out. Like hopefully they're all like exceeding expectations from here on out. But yeah, I think it's good. Like it's not amazing. I don't think it's as good as the first one. The first one I really recommend. It's about a baker, and she acts in a witch who accidentally like summons her ex as a ghost, and they have to help them solve the mystery of their murder. And then yeah, it's really good. I really love the first one. Second one just not as good, but still a good book. It is September 5th, and I just finished Everyone Who Can Forgive Me Is Dead. I'm not going to do spoilers in this one because I have a whole spoilers vlog about this book. So I'll just keep it nice and simple. I'm going to be giving this book 4 stars. This is a psychological thriller about a main character who was involved in a tragedy at their university where 3 people were killed and 2 people were injured. And she blacked out during this, and she has like no memories of it. But 10 years later, there's going to be a documentary made about it, and she's like so convinced that she did something bad, and that's why she doesn't remember it. So she starts going to these therapy sessions to try to jog her memory because she wants to get ahead of it. Like if this movie is going to tell her that she's the bad guy, like she wants to get ahead of the movie. So she's trying to like remember things, and it talks about grief a lot and mental illness. And it was a very interesting premise, but I think the ending was very rushed, and I think this should have been like 100 pages longer. But it had potential, and it's not like a bad book. I just was expecting more from the ending. Like, the ending was very, like, quick. Like, we spend 230 pages thinking something, and then, like, the last 50 pages are just, like, all that information put into one, and it was very overwhelming. Like, the information was overwhelming, The plot twist was a little bit underwhelming in its execution. This is my first time reading this author. Maybe I'll give him another try. And I did annotate it. It's one of my books I had to annotate this month. So not bad. A 4-star isn't a bad book. I'm a little bit more particular about what I rate my thrillers and mysteries because I do rate sometimes based off of how easy it was to figure out. And this wasn't easy to figure out. I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere because all the evidence that we were getting was not even close. Like, I don't think there was any evidence of what actually happened. I'm going to keep it spoilers free because it is a thriller. If I give you any spoilers, there's no point of reading the book. So I do think that it's done in a good way because it's told like in 3 different ways. It's told in the past, it's told in the present, and then it's told through therapy sessions. So like memories. I think that was a really interesting concept. But yeah, I think it's really good. And it had like articles. Like it was like this article from back then was brought up. I think it just needed a bit more. Like 100 pages, 150 pages, and it would have been like a 5-star. Like really, it needed to be really fleshed out. Like the ending itself needed to be more fleshed out. Okay, hi. I just finished I Who Have Never Known Men, and I am in fact crying. Here's my live reaction. I literally just finished the last page. There are literally tears going down my face. It's time to be real. I think this is the most tragic book I've ever read in my life. And I don't know if I recommend it. So I think I could explain it, but there's actually a really good introduction in the front of the book that I think would be great to kind of read from because it does a really good job of telling what the book is about and kind of sets your expectations about it. It says in the introduction, which is pretty long, it's like a couple pages long, it says, the plot of I Who Have Never Known Men is simple. 40 women are held in what appears to be an underground bunker where they have been for many years. They are controlled by male guards and the usual basic provisions of modernity, electricity, food, water are available to them. Life continues for many years until one day a siren goes off. By a stroke of luck, the women are able to free themselves, and they start out upon a mysterious world, gradually realizing, horror after horror, that they might be the last people on this alien-seeming planet. And I can't really tell you anything, because... Jesus. I have never had a book make me really, like, want to just contemplate my entire existence in this kind of way. In the introduction, it also says that we don't always get the answers that we're looking for, and that's not spoilers, that's from the introduction. This book is kind of about hope and pondering and figuring life out, and I'm obsessed. Jesus. I'm giving it 5 stars. I know that this is on a lot of people's TBRs, and I would say that they should read it. Like, I think that you have to know going into it that it's not meant to be like a happy ending with a beginning, middle, and end. It's just kind of like sad. All of it. But yeah, imagine being in captivity all that time, and then you get free to realize that you might be the only people left alive on a planet that might not even be Earth. There were aspects about this that I hated. Like, there's no chapters. It's just a run-on consciousness for 188 pages. So I couldn't stop. Because I wanted I have to read a whole chapter before I can put the book down. So I had to read this entire book in one go. Because there's only one chapter. Technically, there's only one chapter. It's the very first chapter you open to, and it goes all the way through into the end of the book. No epilogue. It's literally just like... kind of how like... Well, I was going to say kind of like how you would do a diary, but diaries would be dated. It's literally like someone's sitting down and writing continuously. No breaks, no... And you don't even really get, like, told how long it's been. You kind of just have to, like, almost fill in the blanks when, like, time skips. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm older now, or whatever. So I didn't really enjoy where it's only, like, no other chapters. and I didn't really enjoy that there's not like a solid ending, but it's so mind-boggling. Like it makes you think about so much. It makes you think about religion. It makes you think about hope. It makes you think about alien life. It makes you think about men. Makes you think about women and sexuality and women friendships and what our bodies are meant for and what we've been born for. And I simply I can't get over this book. I'm probably gonna think about this book for quite some time. But I would not recommend this very easily because it's just one of those books where you just kind of have the feeling that it's not gonna be good. It's gonna break you. And this definitely broke me. And yeah, it got me. Unfortunately, the author passed away in 2012. And they have put in the introduction that the book really hasn't gotten that popular. Like it has like a very niche audience of enjoyment, and like someone else had to write the intro because like the author is deceased. So it's just really, I don't know. It really upsets me when authors pass away before they can find out like how good their book is. So that gets me. It also really makes me emotional, like when you have a story where it's like you are in such a hopeless situation, but you're trying to find hope. Those stories always really get to me. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. And I did in fact read it in one go. It took me 2 hours. And now I need to go read like a romance to cheer myself up because that was quite fucking sad. That was quite like makes me want to like scream into a pillow. I mean, I've never cried on camera before, but like I felt like I had to show it about how much it was getting to me. But yeah, I'm gonna go read a fucking romance or something. I need to bring life back into, bring happiness back into my life or something. It is September 9th, and I just finished 2 novellas, like back to back, like within 24 hours. So I'm gonna talk about both of them. And they were short, obviously, novellas. And the first one was Prince of Frost by Vile in Vile? Vil in Vile? I don't know. It's an author. Look it up. I'm just so bad about pronunciations. I'm so sorry. But I'm here to talk about your book, and it was good. So the first book is set in autumn, and it's like the Autumn King, and this is like the King of Winter time, and it's mostly smut. I won't lie to you guys. Is anyone surprised? No one should be surprised. But this is following the main character who is about to get a marriage of convenience that she doesn't want, but her dad was like, marry this guy for more power. So she does it, and right in the middle of her wedding, the Prince of Frost joins and is like, hey bitches, who wants to die? And everyone's like, no, please don't kill us. We're about to get married. And the dad is like, oh yeah, I guess you do want to kill me. And the prince is like, I'm going to kill everyone unless you make me a bargain. And she's like, I'll go with him. Like, kill me instead. Like, she doesn't want to be in this marriage already. So she's like, just kill me. Simply just kill me. And that must be so bad. Like, if you're about to marry someone and you would rather choose death, that must mean the other person is really fucking boring or annoying or something for you to be like, yeah, I'd rather just choose death. So she's like, I'll come with you, just kill me instead of all my people. And the guy's like, you know what? I will. I'll take you with me. Because that's going to be more painful for your dad. Because instead of killing your dad can see you leave. So she goes with the Prince of Frost, but he's not how he seems. And her dad is not how he seems. There's a lot more going on. It's so short, like 100 pages, I think. 120 pages. So it's mostly just for the romance. But they're fun. This one I gave 3.5 stars. The first one I gave a lot higher than that. But that one was just better. That one had like the autumn setting. This one was just a little bit more boring to me. But I think I would enjoy reading more of it. I think there's going to be a 3rd book. I'm imagining there's going to be one for each season. I don't think they've been announced though. Okay, and then the next novella I read was Fearful by Lauren Roberts, which is the novella in the Powerless series. And I have a lot of thoughts. So you better buckle up. Better go grab a water and some popcorn because I'm about to literally have so much to say in good and bad ways. So it's going to be a lot. Buckle up. Okay, here we go. So if you don't know about the series, I'm not going to give you the whole background because it's like one of the most popular series right now. And it's like The Hunger Games meets Red Queen meets a bunch of other books because it's like they had a baby. And I love the series, don't get me wrong. But the series is over and this is like a novella that came after the series is being over. So I didn't already have a lot of high expectations, but I did give it 4 stars. So, this is what I have to say. Does this author hate this main character? I genuinely want to know if Lauren hates Kit. Because the way that she wrote this man, I don't believe that she likes him. He went through literally so much. Like, he goes through, like, in the original trilogy, you start off really liking him. And by the end of the trilogy, you end up really not liking him. And then we got this novella, and I was thinking, oh, she's gonna, like, make it so that we like him again. And then it was, like, putting that man through all circles of hell. And I was like, did we need a novella for this? Did we need a novella for this? Poor man can't get any kind of fucking peace. I don't want to give spoilers for the Paladin series. Well, I have to, but, like, I'm not going to go too much into, like, what the trilogy is. I'm going to give more into what this book is. So this follows Kit, who is the king, and I can't say a whole lot because it's, like, connected to the Paladin series, but the reason why I didn't give this 5 stars is because I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, does this author literally hate this man? And she said in interviews that she doesn't. I don't believe her. I don't believe her. Man was catching strays left and right. He wasn't allowed to have love. He wasn't allowed to have his mind. He wasn't allowed to have peace and quiet. She put him through so fucking much. And even at the very end, she leaves it on a fucking plot hanger like, well, he doesn't deserve peace. Go fuck him. Like, I'm just like, Jesus. Lauren, I've never gotten a vibe from an author they didn't like their main character before, but this book made me genuinely think that Lauren hates him. Like, that's like my main review of this book. Is I'm like, what did he do so bad to you? And if you don't like him, why'd you give him a novella? But on the other side of it, we get a POV from a new character, and I did like getting her POV. Her name is Mara. I can't tell her anything about it because it will be spoilers. More spoilers than I'm wanting to give. So we do get her point of view, and she gives us some insight into some other characters that we hadn't really gotten a lot of into Powerless, and I fucking love that. I was like, you get a lot of, like, side character stuff, like, side characters in Powerless, they get talked about a lot in this book, and I did like getting that insight, but it does leave you with a lot of questions, and Lauren has said that's on purpose. She's like, oh, I'm gonna continue the series eventually, so, like, I'm leaving with these questions on purpose, and I'm just like, is this about to be Shatter Me again? Is this about to be the Shatter Me universe where we end up with, like, 15 fucking books that just never end? I'm gonna be at my grave reading them? I think it might be. Because she's like, I'm going to continue it. There's so much more to say. And it's like, what if you don't? What if you don't say anything else? I have very strong opinions about this book. And you're like, you give it 4 stars. I'm like, I did give it 4 stars. I did. I just am concerned about this author and, like, what they're doing for this series. And I think it's going to be like a spin-off series going forward, which I wouldn't mind. I just don't love what they did with Kit. Like, I loved Kit. Kit wasn't, like, my favorite character, but, like, I did enjoy him, and she was just, like, kicking him while he was down. And it was hard to read. It was hard to read. Genuinely hard to read a book where she wrote him like she was hating him. Like, she wrote him like he was the enemy, the greatest enemy of all time. And I just wish that we didn't get the book. I don't want to say that I don't wish that I didn't read it, because, you know, there was some good elements of it. I just wish that it was never wrote for me to read. That's the best way of me to explain how I feel about this book. So those are the 2 novellas that I read. I gave one a 3.5 and one a store. I gave the other one a 4, and I'm currently reading the Bridgerton book number 4, and I'm flying through it. So I will be back probably tomorrow to tell you the review on that one. Sorry that I got so angry with Lauren. Lauren, I love you. You're a great author. And I just wish that I wasn't in so much pain when it comes to your characters. I think that's what it is that she does a really good job about, like, evoking emotions, like, evoking you to, like, care about the characters. So when she's writing him going through such a hard time, I feel like it is on purpose, but I'm like, why? It's painful to read about your character that you like going through a hard time. It's not enjoyable. And that's like the whole novella. I'm like, why did we need this? And I don't think it really added a lot. It just added more questions. Like, it didn't answer a whole lot. It just added more questions to the questions that we already had with the end of Fearless. And I'm just like, Lauren, you get out of your desk and write the next book right now. I need the next book right now, Lauren. So yeah, this is my review of Fearful and Prince of Frost. Would I recommend them? Not really. They were good for me. Would you enjoy them? Probably not. But we'll go forward, won't we? It's only September 9th and I've already read 6 books. I feel like I'm killing it. I still have potential to get some 5 stars from the rest of the month. So, and I'm here to give my review of Can't Spell Treason Without T. I finished this yesterday, but I had a really busy day, so I wasn't able to give an update. But I'm here to do it now. I didn't love this. And I'm kind of sad about not loving it because you would have thought that it would have been perfect for me because it's a book about a tea shop that also sells books. It's like a bookshop, tea shop in one. I love books. I love tea. I love fantasy. So I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect for me. This was my first cozy fantasy. And I think maybe I don't like them. So let me tell you what it's about. Then I'll give you my review. This is about a lady who works for the queen, like as her like guard pretty much. And like assassin almost as well. And she decides to run away with her girlfriend who's like the mage of all mage. Like she's super powerful, like she's like ahead of the mages. And they decide to run away to open up a bookshop, tea shop together. Well, running away from the queen is treason. So obviously when they run away, they have a bunch of people looking for them because they're like, oh my god, you just literally committed treason to run away with your girlfriend. And that's the entire plot, pretty much. The only other thing that's like a part of the plot is that there is dragon attacks that keep happening. And they're trying to figure out why the dragon attacks keep specifically happening to this town and why they're like randomly happening. And there is a bit of a plot with that. But there is really not much of a plot. And maybe that's the point of cozy fantasy. But like personally, it took like 150 pages for it to get good. I almost DNF'd it at 50 pages, but I was like, let me just give it a little bit more time. Because I feel like for the first 150 pages, it's just them describing building the bookshop. It's like, we're going to make the collars this color. We're going to make the walls this color. This is going to have this book. And this over here is going to be the kitchen. And while that's cute and fun and all that, I didn't enjoy reading about that. Like, it would have been fine if they would have mentioned it just a little bit. But so much of this book is them describing in detail of building this bookshop. Like, I feel like we spend more time building the bookshop than we actually get, like, with the plot inside the bookshop. And it is sapphic, so I don't want to discredit it because, you know, it's really cute. I just don't think this is for me. I personally think that it was boring. And I'm going to give it a 3.5 because, like I said, the second half, once the plot hit, I was hooked. Like, once I got to 150 pages and I was getting into that stuff with the dragons, I was like, okay, this I like. This I enjoy. I thought this was a standalone series. I thought each book had a different main character. It does not. The second book is the same characters going after to find what's... You find out what the dragons are there for, and then in the second book, you're going after to get the things for the dragon. And it's following the exact same main characters, to my understanding. So I would not have read this if I knew that. I thought it was like each book had its own character, because now that I've read this, I got left on a bit of a cliffhanger. So if I want to know the rest of the story, I have to read the next one. And I don't know how I feel about that yet. I think if I already own the second one, so if I read it and I give it also 3 stars, I'm not completing the series. I'm just not. But I don't know, maybe it's just me. But, you know, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. And I do think I will end up giving this away. I didn't like write in it, so I could sell it if I wanted to, but I think I might just give it to one of my friends. But I did annotate. The way that I annotate is that I like, let me find you an example. I just put the tabs like right on the book like that, and they just aren't all, they're just not like hanging out so that you don't see them, but they're still there so that when I flip the pages, I can like see them. So those would be easy to like remove if I want to sell. But I think I might just give it away to a friend. 3.5 isn't bad, but if I read the second book and felt the same way, I would be not continuing. Maybe I'm just not a cozy fantasy girly. I don't know, this is my first attempt. And I had a lot of high hopes. I was really, really, really excited for this book. And I thought it was boring for the most part. It had potential and it did not live up to my head. And the bad part is I have the special editions. So I didn't get these for cheap. So it kind of sucks that I didn't end up loving it. But I'm not going to force myself to love a book just because I paid money for it. Hello, friends. Okay, it's been a few days, but I'm finally back to talk about Bridgerton, book 4, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, I think that's what it's called. I'm giving it a 4.5. I love these books. There's something so good about them and so addicting and like so easy to read that my brain really freaking loves. This hasn't been my favorite in the series, but I still really enjoyed it. I It's better than the season of the show, but he acts a little bit different than he does in the show, and that was a bit disorienting at times. If you don't know what this series is about, this follows the Bridgerton family who has like fucking 8 kids, and they're all named in the alphabet order like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. H goes to H, I believe. But their family is like one of the most wealthiest family in London, and every season, like when the girls have to like come out and like find a husband, it's always one of the Bridgertons being the love interest pretty much. And there is boys and girls in this family, so sometimes we see them as like the husband person, but we have also gonna see them be like the girl in the season eventually, because it's all been like men so far. But I have enjoyed it because you also get like the POV of the woman, whoever's in the diamond of the season, whatever that you want to call them. You do still get their point of view, and I think they're so fun and addicting. I don't ever like really read them very fast, but I have been dragging this on for quite some time. It has been like over a year because I'm like, well, I really enjoy it, and it's such a good cozy series that I don't want it to end. And I think maybe in November, I am going to just read all of the rest of them. I think I have 4 left, and so I think I'm just going to go ahead and read them all. And that way, I'm finished and I'm caught up, because like the new season comes out next year, and I know there's been talks of like Queen Charlotte getting second season, and I'm addicted to this. But this book follows Colin and Penelope, and Colin is the 4th Bridgerton brother to get married, and Penelope is like the black sheep of her family. Like, her parents don't ever really dress her very well. Like, they always put her like in these hideous collars, and they always expect her to be a spinster. Like, no one really has much hope in her falling in love, and she's been in like multiple seasons. Like, she's 33 years old in this book, and he is 38, I believe. And so it's like supposed to be like her being like an older person in society getting love, and I think it was really good. But the reason why I said he acts different is because in the show he does get mad, but it's like barely seen. In the book, he gets mad a lot. And don't get me wrong, the reasons why he's mad are very, very valid. Like, I'm not saying he wasn't valid to be mad, but he was like extremely mad at certain points. Like, I don't want to say like anger management problems because it wasn't that far, but like there was a couple times he yelled at her, and I was like, I don't really love that. Like, and he always apologized, and it was only just like a couple times, like when the emotions were really heated on both sides. Like, she was also yelling at him, so it wasn't like he was like manipulating her or like abusing her. Just like in the show, you don't really see that. You only see him get like mad one time in the show. In the book, he's a lot more mad. Like, he definitely has a lot more emotions to work through in the book. And I just think that was interesting that they changed that. Probably for good reason. Like, I don't, like, he was never like mad enough to like hurt her or anything like that. It was just shocking. I don't know how to explain this in a way that people will understand what I mean. It's just like when you watch a show and you see this guy be happy go lucky for like the entire season except for like one time where he's like a little mad. It's a bit disorienting to read a book where he's like mad multiple times at a much higher level than what the show portrays. So it was just interesting to see that. And I'm really excited to get to like some of the girls in their family and their stories, and then I'm obviously going to read the mother's story afterwards. I don't talk about this in its own video, but I have decided to remove every single romance that I'm currently in the middle of except for Bridgerton and like one other. because I was in the middle of a bunch of other ones, like the Elsie Silver series, the Lauren Asher series, um, and I have just decided that they no longer interest me. And I have too many books on a long list of TBRs to be reading books that don't really ever interest me. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe I should have read them a lot closer together. Like maybe when I read them last year, I should have just read them all together. Because I do think your reading habits and your reading tastes change throughout, months and a year. Like the things that I'm reading currently, I don't think that I would have been reading last year. And the things that I'll be reading next year, I wouldn't have been reading this year. And I just think instead of holding on to books that I'm like no longer interested in, I'm just going to wipe this slate clean and we're going to just find new romance books to read. Like Bridgerton, I really enjoy, and I've never had any kind of much critique for it. And the other one that I'm keeping, I also haven't really had much critiques. I've only read the first book, and I really, really love the first book. But the other ones, they're really long. They're like over 500 pages, and they have some tropes that I don't necessarily love. Like some of them have accidental pregnancy, some of them have second chance. I just don't like those tropes, and I could like make myself read them in the hopes like, oh well, maybe this will be the one that I do enjoy. And I love the first books, but I read the first books a year ago. So like, since I never had the draw to pick them up for an entire year, and I'm now just trying to make myself read them to be able to say that I finished a series, that's not really aligning with what I'm wanting to do with books. So yes, I'm gonna take those off. That's gonna get its own video and dived into like what ones I'm taking off and like why for each series. But this one I'm definitely finishing. I'm probably gonna read it in November because I just feel like November, I don't know why, but like November is a really big like romance month for me. Maybe it's because it's like that vibe of like pre-holiday stuff where I'm like, it's fall, everyone should be in love. Like October is like scary stuff. Like October, I'm wanting like smutty, scary, spooky, and then November hits, and I'm like, let's be in love, let's be in love and have good friendships. Like I mean, it is the season of caring and giving, so maybe that's why. But I do think that November is going to be a really big romance month for me for reading. But yeah, this is my review of Bridgerton, and I'm definitely excited to finish these so that I can pick a favorite because I do have a current favorite, but I don't know if it's going to stay my favorite. My current favorite is Benedict's book. It was just so good, and I was surprised at how good it was. And yeah, and we haven't gotten his season yet. The next season is his season. So now that I've read the book before the season, it'll be interesting to see how I feel going into the season. Because these other ones, I watched the show first. So like Anthony's season, Colin's season, the Duke's season, I've watched all of those before I read the book, so I already had like the pre-existing feelings. This is not going to be reversed from here on out. I haven't watched their season, so I'm like building opinions off of the books. It'll be interesting to see. That is my little review. I am 50% into a book, so I might be back later today to give you a review if I can finish it in between work tasks. I don't know what my lighting's doing. It's tired today. So am I. I am back several hours later, and I did in fact finish the book that I was reading. I was reading Every Step She Takes by Alison Cochrane. This book originally had a different title, and I didn't know how I felt about that at first, but now that I've finished the book, I think this title makes way more sense. It makes way more sense. It was really called Learning Curve because it is essentially about this older woman who's like 38 figuring out that she's gay, and she is like, I need lessons on how to be gay and how to flirt with women and how to have sex with women and how to kiss them. Like she's like, I know nothing and I'm embarrassed to know nothing. Like I'm such a late bloomer. So she essentially asks the help of someone who's on this same walking tour with her for help, and they end up falling in love because of course they do. And I love this book. I'm giving it 5 stars. But I think Every Step She Takes makes much more sense because it is a book about them going on a walking tour where they walk like 200 miles in like 14 days. Like they're going from like this one spot to a place, like a really famous place. Can't remember the exact names, but it's like they're walking the entire way there. So they're covering 200 miles in 14 days. They're carrying all their belongings with them, and they room together. They met each other on the flight. It's really funny. Like, there was a lot of moments where I genuinely laughed out loud. I don't know why my fucking lighting is doing this, but it's bugging the shit out of me. Sometimes the lighting just does its own fucking thing, and I'm just like, Who am I to say differently? Who am I to... God, this is still bugging me. I guess we'll go with this. Yeah, so back to the book. Sorry, I'm giving it 5 stars. It was genuinely really funny. It had a lot of really good moments. I'm actually gonna read some of my favorite lines out loud to you guys to show, like, the vibe of the book. I finally let myself question my sexuality. I was so convinced that I had to have the right label, that if I didn't, my identity would be less valid somehow. But it was by living in the ambiguity that I was able to start uncovering who I really am and what I really want. That fucking hit hard. As someone who tried really hard to make a label work when I came out, like, I was like, oh, I'm lesbian because I don't really like men. And then I started liking men. And I was like, well, I don't really feel like bisexual fits because I like only women, but like 1% of men, which I know that can still be bisexual, but it still didn't feel right to me. And I really struggled with the label for a really long time. And now I don't bother. Now I just let myself be. And the whole, like, breaking free of the label, I really enjoyed. And then the other one was, they're like doing like these sharing circles. This one just made me fucking laugh. They're doing these sharing circles and it's like, thank you so much for sharing. And the other person goes, fuck you for sharing. What is this, Degrassi High? And I genuinely fucking laughed at that because I used to watch Degrassi all the time growing up. I wasn't expecting there to be a Degrassi reference in this book, and I giggled. I was like, damn. If you don't know what Degrassi is, it was like a really popular like TV show about teenagers going to school, and it was a lot of drama and sex and cheating and toxic relationships and smoking and car accidents, and it was anything you can hope happen. School shootings. Anything that you could think happened in Degrassi. And it probably should have been canceled, but it wasn't for a really long time. This next one was just really cute. It says, Nan was the one who loved preserving history. I've always loved reimagining it. That's me. And this last one was really sad, and it really hit me in the chest. But it's not like a spoiler. It is the burden always fall on the queer kid to be the bigger person who forgives their ignorant parents who are really trying. Yeah, I really felt that. Like, why is it on us, as a person who's coming out to the other people, to take the blame or the burden of it all, when it's them? Like, they're the problem. Like, it's not our fault that they're homophobic, and they should take the blame. And they should be the bigger person, and, like, get their shit together, and, like, maybe unlearn some things. So I really loved it. I don't know if I did a good job of explaining the summary of this book, but essentially, it's like, this girl has a sister who is bisexual, and she thinks that she is straight, and her sister gets hurt right before the walking journey, and she asks her straight sister to take her place on a queer walking tour. And she, for some reason, says yes. Maybe she was already questioning. Well, she is at the airport, she's in the plane, and then during the plane, there's some issues, like turbulence, and she ends up coming out to everyone on the plane. She's like, I'm gonna die and I'm gay, and I'm just like, wow, that was really dramatic. She's like, I don't want to die without everyone knowing that I love women, and I'm like, so true, bestie. And then the rest of the book's about the walking tour and them taking the lessons together, like I was saying, and it's really cute. I've never given anything. This is my favorite author in the romance genre. I've never given anything by them less than 5 stars. I've loved everything by them. And I know you could be like, well, you're biased. It's your favorite author. No, genuinely, every single thing this author writes hits me so deep in the chest and the soul that I'm like, did you write this book about me? Like, was I the inspiration? Because I also was a little late to coming out. I also really struggled with my sexuality. Like even the character was like questioning being asexual or romantic. The other books do have main characters with those identities, but this main character is like on a whole exploration, and that's like the main thing about it, is exploring who she is and letting herself explore who she is. There are like non-binary characters, bisexual, trans, queer. Like this book has a little bit of everyone in it, which I really love. But these books just really speak to me, like speak to my little gay soul. And I had never read anything by them that wasn't a hit. Everything they write is just like sucker punching me in the face, like bam, bitch, this is for you. And I'm like, and then I love it, and then I read it. The first book I read by them was The Charm Offensive, and I read it on the plane, which is funny because this book's about them coming out on the plane. I read it on the plane and sobbed in public while reading it, like, because that book's about being asexual. That book really got me. I was literally crying on my flight to Seattle, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you should really read these books. It's by Alison Cochran. She writes really lovely books. And she has The Charm Offensive, Every Step She Takes, which is the new one, Here We Go Again, which is the one that she wrote last year. It was about like a road trip romance. And then there's a Christmas one, which I think is called, I can't remember what that one's called. It's the Christmas one. It's like Every Kiss, Once Upon a Kiss. Hold on, let me look it up. Oh no, it's called Kiss Her Once for Me. I hit, as soon as I was thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, that's what the book is called. I loved it though. It's a 5-star. And I only have one book left in my Magical Readathon TBR, and I'm going to be getting to it this coming week. So I'm excited. I'm like really going strong. I don't know. I'm hoping to get my light bulb finally changed. It's like, do I just gotta fucking shove this fucking lamp up my ass or something? Why is it so fucking like not bright today? And then I have my overhead light that I feel like is making it worse because this light isn't doing its job. I need this light to do its job so that I can use this light to like even it out. And this job isn't serving the way that it needs to serve. And I'm disappointed in it. Not me yelling at my lamp. Oh God, this is the realistic life of being someone that makes videos, is that things sometimes don't work the way they're supposed to. Like, I've done nothing different. Like, I literally turned the lamp on and I haven't changed settings, nothing. It's being weird. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna shut up now because I've been in a yapping mood. All the clips I've made today have been going way longer than they should have. That's the life. I'm a yapper. I'm a professional yapper. I will see you guys when I finish the next book, which I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what I'm starting. I don't know it at all. So you'll figure it out with me, I guess. You thought you saw the last of me today? I just realized that I have severely fucked up my TBR. So, a book that I thought has been coming out this entire time actually got pushed until next year. And I never realized, never was informed, never saw the post somehow. And not just delayed recently, it got delayed in January of 2025. And this entire time I've had this YouTube account, I have been talking about this book coming out in September. It's on my 25 in 2025 list. It's in my 2025 series tracker list. It's literally on my September TBR. I never at one point, oh my God, the lighting's being so weird. There it is. I never at one point ever thought to check to make sure the release date was still accurate. Not that, I wasn't expecting it to get pushed. I don't know. I just never thought to check. But the reason why I just went and checked is because I thought it was coming out tomorrow. So I went to go check to see if maybe I could buy it to have it sent to my house. And I went to go check Storygraph to mark it as currently reading, because I always mark the book that I'm going to currently reading, before I actually start it, so that my brain knows, okay, we're going to go to that. And then I have like some time to prepare myself to go to that book. And I saw the expiration date as 2026. I'm embarrassed. Multiple videos I have said that this book comes out, and I never caught it. Never thought about checking myself, because it was coming out in September 2025, but now it's coming out in September 2026. I'm embarrassed and gagged, but that does in fact mean that we have to fix this, because I've also already caught another mistake. I have 2 books on this TBR that are not coming out until the 30th of this month. I can't finish a book in a whole day. Like, maybe one book in an entire day, but I can't finish 2 entire books in one day. So we're gonna have to do some TBR fixing. I need to pick 2 other books to read this month. So we're gonna we're gonna talk about that. I am tempted to just switch them out for Dungeon Crawler Carl books 2 and 3, because I do already have those on Audible. Because Magical Readathon, I only have 1 book left, and it's a physical book. I own it, so I know I'm good there. Sorry, the lighting I still can't fucking fix. It's a mess. Just maybe tomorrow will be better. So I know that Magical Readathon is totally fine. But that means 3 of the books that I have planned for this month, I probably won't get to. One of the new releases is coming out on September 30th is only 200 pages. So that one I might really be able to read in one day. So I'll keep that one on my list. But I do need to replace that book in my 2025 25 and 2025 list, and I also need to replace it for this TBR. This is my 25 and 2025 list. I've already had to replace 2 books on this list because I removed them from my list. Like, I had 2 romances, and I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. So I removed those romances, and I put Dungeon Crawler Carl and Good Spirits in their place. Good Spirits doesn't come out until December, I think. So then I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just take those off, and then I'll replace these. Well, this book, Espiritu, by Aiden Thomas, that's the one that just got fucking pushed. So I need to replace this with something. And I'm tempted to say Dungeon Crawler Book 2, but that feels like cheating. So let me go look at my new releases for the rest of the year. Maybe I should double check my new releases for the rest of the year and make sure that they're still coming out. Good Spirits comes out in October, so that doesn't help me. I think I'm going to replace it with Hot Wax, and maybe I'll replace Espiritu with this book for the TBR. So I think I'm going to replace this book, Espiritu, Aiden Thomas, with Hot Wax by M.L. Rio for this month, because it's already out. I know for a fact I could literally start it already. So I'm going to replace Hot Wax here. And then for my TBR, the other book that I have to replace, I think I'm going to do Homebound by Meredith Trapp, so that I still have a book. Because that's the thing, is I planned on finishing this to be able to mark it off. And since I can't mark it off, I think I'm going to have to do another one on this list. So I think I'm going to do currently reading Homebound. That way it's still one of these are coming off this month. So I have this replaced now. I'm going to put it as currently reading so I know later on if I forget. So replacing Espiritu with Hot Wax. I replaced the other 2 romance books that I'm not going to be continuing with, Dungeon Crawler Carl and Good Spirits. I'm going to add Homebound to my September TBR, and I'll keep Holly, because that's a really short novella. And I think that fixes things for now. Since I'm already doing this, I might as well just tell you the romances that I'm not going to continue. Which I'm going to have to just go ahead and change this one to red as well, because I can't fucking do it today. I can't do it this year. So that's going to go to red as well. I'm not going to finish the Dirty Air series or the Chestnut Spring series, and I'm also not going to continue the Rose Hill series. So the only romance books that I'm keeping on my TBR is The Windy City, because I actually really, really, really loved Mile High, and I have thought about completing it like multiple times since I read it, and then Bridgerton, because I really enjoy these. So those are the only 2 romance series that I'm going to like continue, other than Heartstrings, but I can't continue it even if I wanted to because it's not out yet. So hopefully I have no other issues. But I guess I'm gonna start Hot Wax. I just finished Hot Wax by M.L. Rio, and I am sad. And like, not because the book was sad, because I'm sad because it was bad. It was not good. I am going to talk about a little bit of spoilers, but I will keep it spoiler free for a second. I don't think this should be marketed as a thriller. I think it should be marketed as a lit fic. I got, like, it was marketed as a thriller, like, from what I understand. Like, people were telling me that it was a thriller. And I think that automatically set my expectations up to be wrong, because it's not a thriller. And there was a lot of things that I did not enjoy about this book, but there were a few things that I did enjoy. So let me just tell you what it's about first before we dive into the review. This is following the main character, Suzanne, whose father was in a rock and roll band when she was growing up. And one summer, she joins him on tour while her mom's doing whatever she's doing. And a lot of shit goes down. And then the other point of view in the book is 20 years later, after her father is dead, she is now trying to, like, still run from her past. But there's a third point of view that keeps, like, wanting to bring the past up and, like, get her to them. Like, they're, like, coming after her. So it's mostly following Suzanne, who is dealing with a lot of, like, wanting to escape her past and make, like, a life of her own. And she has always really been told what, like, she had an event happen to her, and, like, she kind of was, like, gaslit into, like, not talking about it, or, like, saying that what happened didn't actually happen. And yeah, so that's the gist of the book. The reasons why I did not like it, I'll keep it spoiler free still for a little bit. is, let me say what I do like first. What I do like about the book is the format. So, as someone who's really into concerts and I actually collect vinyls, you just don't ever see them because they're in my living room. I love the fact that this was formatted like a vinyl. Like, instead of chapters, it was tracks. Instead of parts, it was like side A, side B. That was all phenomenal. I thought that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It was done so well. Like, it was literally like listening to a vinyl, especially because I listened to it as an audiobook. So it was like very immersive in that sense of like, it almost felt like I was literally listening to a vinyl. Because in the audiobook, it would even read out like side B, and it would always have like a chapter title, which could be seen as like a song. So I felt like the vinyl was almost like the audiobook was almost announcing the next song of the book. I love that. I also thought that it was a very interesting concept of like a rock and roll book with like a 9-year-old, 9 to 12-year-old, and like how they were experiencing it. I thought that was interesting. That's about where everything I loved ends. I have way more complaints than I do anything else. I'm going to be giving this a 3-star. And I thought about it, and I was going to give it a 2.5, but I think with how much I enjoyed the format, I think I'll just keep it at a 3-star because even though I have a lot of complaints, I was still really, really impressed and really wowed by the format of this book. So we'll just keep it as a 3. And then now this is going to get into spoiler territory a little bit. So if you're going to read Hot Wax, you might want to just not listen. There are 3 big things about this book that I did not enjoy. The first one was that the book is really confusing in a timeline sort of way. Like I said, we get 3 points of view. We get like a 9 to 12-year-old Suzanne, and then we get a present day Suzanne, and then we also get Suzanne's husband. And I don't think that we needed to have Suzanne's husband. I think the book would have been better if that whole storyline would have just been yeeted. But the thing about that got confusing for me is that it would never really say whose point of view was happening, like the past or present Suzanne, unless it was the start of the next like track. So like at the start of the next track, it would give you like a date and a time. But everywhere else in the book, it was just like kind of not very clear, and it kind of jumped around, and you were kind of you just had to figure out what Suzanne was talking on your own. And that got kind of a little bit complicated because there are some things that happened to child Suzanne. And I had to be like, is this child Suzanne? I was like, whoa, is this really happening to a child? Or is this adult Suzanne? Like, I had to keep, like, checking, like, where I was in the book. And, like, using context clues. I think it would have been a lot better if, like, every single part would have had, like, past Suzanne or, like, 12-year-old Suzanne. Some kind of indicator of, like, who was talking at that time. So that was my one big complaint. My second big complaint was that there are some triggering things in this book that I haven't really seen talked about. And I think maybe it's because it's like, oh, it's a rock and roll book. It talks about sex and drugs and, you know, that lifestyle that we all know that people have. I still think that it should be mentioned that this book has pedophilia in it. Like, it's not like a huge part of the book, but it does happen towards the end of the book for like a chapter or 2. There is a relationship between child Suzanne and one of her, I say relationship very loosely, more borderline like sexual assault. Because, hold on, I'll get more to that. But it's like child Suzanne and one of her father's bandmates, they have some intimate scenes together, and I would beg that it's more sexual assault because she wasn't old enough to consent. But when you read or like listen to her point of view, she was almost like into it. Like she almost was like, oh my God, he's touching me. I was sickened. Because if you look in the trigger warnings, it's not listed even under minor. And I was like, that should definitely be listed. Because that really took me by surprise. They don't like have sex because it gets interrupted. That's all I'll say. But it definitely, like, the way she's talking about it, it seems like she almost wanted it. And even present day Suzanne kind of talks about how, like, she wanted to be with him. Like, a little bit. Like, it's not a huge thing. It's definitely not. Like, it's a very minor, not pun intended, part of the book. I just think it should definitely be mentioned. And it definitely, like, kind of made me dislike the book even more. Also, there's cheating in this book. Suzanne is still married, and she goes out and gets into, like, a throuple while still married. And her husband comes after her because he's like, why the fuck did you run away? And he, like, literally is like, oh my god, you have a new relationship with someone. And she's like, oh yeah, I want a divorce. That's cheating. Like, I understand that she might not have been happy in her marriage, but that is still cheating. And it wasn't like ever like, oh, she's in the wrong. It was just like, oh yeah, well, I was unhappy with you, so I left without telling you, and I started this whole new life, and when you come after me, I'm gonna make you feel like the bad guy, even though I still technically cheated. I don't think two wrongs make a right. Like, yes, maybe you were, like, he wasn't, like, hurting her. Like, they just weren't really attracted to each other, and she didn't think that she'd have anyone else in her life that, like, that would like her, because she had, like, low self-esteem. So she's like, well, this guy asked me to marry him, I might as well. Well, just because you were unhappy in a relationship does not mean that cheating's ever okay. I don't think cheating's okay at all. Like, at all. And it would have been different if, like, she, like, separated from him prior to this. Like, she was like, oh, I want a divorce, and then she left after saying she wanted a divorce, because then it's, like, a little bit different. Like, she made it known that she wanted to break up and get divorced. But in this book, she doesn't. She just, like, finds these people, ends up getting with them. When her husband shows up, he's like, what the hell? We're literally still married, sickness and health, all that good stuff. And she's like, yeah, I want a fucking divorce, get a life. That's not right. And cheating is not under the trigger warnings either. And I'm just like, I know I'm sensitive. Also, my lighting is being weird again. It's being sensitive. I know I'm sensitive to some topics, but I just feel like really surprised that these trigger warnings were not put into Storygraph by someone yet. With it having over 200 reviews, I'm just a little bit shooketh that, like, no one has put those trigger warnings. I definitely will be. And then the third thing that I did not love is the execution of the story. Like, in general, like, it's supposed to be a mystery, and the mystery parts of it are, like, barely there, and the entire story gets wrapped up in, like, 25 pages. So it's, like, extremely rushed. Like, you're literally, like, 30 pages from the end, and you're like, I have so many questions still. And then the last two chapters, she, like, swam-bams hits you with them, and you're like, okay. It was extremely rushed. And I don't buy it. I don't know. This is the first ML Rio book that I have not, like, absolutely loved. So this is a bit of a shock and a surprise for me. Like, I gave If We Were Villains a 5-star, and I gave Graveyard Shift, like, a 4.5. I could not fathom giving this above a 3. I wanted to give it a 2.5, but since I liked the formatting so much, I was like, I'll just give it a 3. Nice and simple, nice and polite still. Like, it wasn't like the worst book I've ever read, but, like, it has a lot of things that I did not enjoy. And, I mean, the trigger warning stuff, that's not, that being not on Storygraph isn't necessarily ML Rio's fault, but it did take away from my personal enjoyment, because since they weren't in Storygraph, I didn't know about them, so that I went into them blindly, and then it made me uncomfortable, and then it, like, made me not, like, it took some enjoyment out of the book for me. So that's a long little tangent. I still love ML Rio. I think they're a great author. I think If We Were Villains is one of the best books I've ever read in my life. It's, like, one of the best books I think a lot of people have read ever. And it has very high ratings. I checked the ratings on this book, and they're low. Very low. It's like an average of a very low 3-star right now. I was going through them, and we all had, like, very similar complaints. A lot of DNFs, a lot of 3 stars. And I just think that for a book that was surrounded by music, this did not flow like a very good song. They didn't have, like, very good flow, and the format was there. The execution had bones, and then it was just like when the song, I'm referring to the song as the plot, actually happened, it was like disorienting, confusing, a lot happening. Like, there were some storylines that we just did not need. We didn't need a romance storyline. We didn't need her husband to be in it at all. It should have been her dad. Like, her being with her dad in the past, and then her figuring out her dad's death in the present. And that's all it should have been. We didn't need her to get in a throuple. We didn't need any of that. It should have been no romance, point blank, period. It should have been a very lit fic, basic book. And I think it would have been much, much better in my personal opinion. So I'm going to go start Homebound by Meredith Trapp, which is like an actual romance to bring some life back into me, because that kind of depressed me reading that, because I was like, such high expectations for this author, because like I said, they're one of my favorite authors ever, and this is the first time I've not like loved something by them. And hopefully the things that come out with in the future, I will find enjoyment in. Hopefully this is just like a one-time thing where the book just wasn't for me. Oh, I also remember something that I don't like as well. There's a lot of like lyrics in the book, and reading it as an audiobook kind of sucked, because you would like know that they were lyrics, but the person wouldn't sing them. They would just read them like, yeah, baby, come on home with me, the devil is here. And like, the lyrics were being read in a very monotone voice. And it was like, I would rather have just read those. Or like, I know it's probably a bit more difficult to hire a singer, but I would have preferred author singing over them reading it like a fucking Bible. Yeah, yeah, honey. Yeah, you're beautiful. That's about how it sounded in my ears. But it counts as towards my audiobook goal. And it was my first time using Spotify audiobook. I was like, I've been paying for this for months, and I've never used it before. So I was like, I'll just use my 15 hours. And I used it on Hot Wax. And I don't regret it, because then I actually got my money's worth. But also, like, I wish I would have picked a different book, because it wasn't good. That's it. I'm going to shut up now, because it's been 15 minutes. I'm like not trying to rant and rave, but it's been 15 minutes. It's time to move on. I'm going to move on. Okay, hello friends. It's been a few days since I've given any kind of review. It's because I haven't been feeling the best. Like, I've been reading. Also, my hair is like crazy. Not loving that. I've been like dealing with some allergies, I think, and I've been like really eepy. But I have finished 2 books. Talk about them both right now. I listened to the audiobook of Homebound by Meredith Trapp, and I'm giving it 5 stars. It was amazing. So this is a series kind of around sports. Like, the first one is hockey. I read it last year. It's one of my favorite books from last year. And this one was about a bull rider. And I was like a little iffy about it, because it was a single dad romance. It was a cowboy romance. And as you know, I was burnt pretty badly from 2 different cowboy romances last month. So I was very hesitant to read it. But it was on my 25 and 2025. And I enjoyed the first one so much. I was like, surely Meredith Trapp won't let me down. And she didn't. It's amazing. I can't really say a whole lot about it. It's like I don't want to say it's like your typical cowboy book, because obviously I didn't like the ones I read last month, but this one's really good. This is about a guy who plays hockey, but he comes home for his summer to spend time with his family, and he has a child, and he has to ask the girl currently living in his family's home if he can live with her. And she just so happens to be a bull rider. And he has dabbled in bull riding a little bit, but he's like, that's not really his job. Like, his job is the hockey. It's like connected to the first book, like that was a hockey romance. It's one of those people. But he's just home for the season. And she's a bull rider who is trying to get a high enough score to get onto a team, pretty much. And it's so well done. Like, the chapter titles were well done. The storyline is well done. The tension was great. There wasn't a whole lot of smut, but I don't think it needed a whole lot of smut. I don't even like single dad stories, but I like this. Don't even like kids, but the kid was super cute. And I think it was just, I don't know. I think this author just does it for me. Like, this is going to be one of the few romance authors that I maybe read going forward, because, you know, I've had a lot of troubles with some other ones. So I think that Meredith Trapp will be an auto buy for me, and she'll just be one of my safe romance authors. That's what we'll call her. We'll just call her my safe romance authors that I'll read in the future. That's all I can really say about that one. That one doesn't really have like a super detailed plot to really explain out. Other than the fact that they knew each other, they were childhood friends, and he always loved her, but she was with someone else. So then, 20 years later, he's back in town and he's like, I still love you. And she's like, what? And then, it's a romance. So they're going to end up together. It's really cute. I read the Bond of Brass during stream yesterday. I did a 12-hour stream. I read the entire thing on stream. And I like this way more than I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to hate this because it's sci-fi. The reviews aren't the best. But I actually liked it. I'm giving it a 4.25. And this is one of my Annotate With Me books, so I'm going to leave the spoilers for that vlog. But essentially, this is about a pilot who finds out that his best friend is the secret heir of a galactic empire. And they've known each other for like 10 years, and he had no idea. So he's trying to come to grasp with that. But there's also like a war going on. So he has to pick between like his past or helping his friend, who is technically the enemy now, get to safety. And I think it's really well done. I actually really liked it. I thought the world building was interesting. I thought the reveal at the end was surprising. Yeah, it's really good. Like, it's probably one of the better sci-fi books that I've read. Nothing compares to Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I did start book 2 yesterday during the stream because I finished this one and I needed something to do for the rest of the stream. But I didn't finish it, and I won't probably be finishing it this month. So it's not going to be really talked about in this video, but I did start that one. That's the best sci-fi that I've ever read. That one's just top-notch. Audiobook is some of the best work of art that I've ever read in my life. But yeah, this one, I'll talk about more in the Annotate With Me vlog that's actually already out. So if you're interested in spoilers, you can go watch it. Okay, hi. It's been a few days. More like a week, honestly. This is like the busiest week at my job, so I unfortunately hit some roadblocks when it came to reading. And I'm here to talk about the last 2 books that I read, and then we're going to go over how the month went, and spoiler, it was a shit show. The last 2 books that I read was Thief of Night and A Steeping of Blood. I'm giving A Thief of Night 4 stars, and I'm giving A Steeping of Blood 5 stars. A Thief of Night is the second book in a duology that got wrote a couple years ago, and we had all been waiting for her to finish it, and I think it was okay. I had a really hard time remembering what happened in the first book, and I didn't care enough to go back, so I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna push forward. It's essentially, like, without giving spoilers because it is the second book, it's essentially a book about this thief who trades in, like, shadows and secrets, because, like, in this book, in this universe, your shadows on your body are, like, their own person, and you can have them go do your dirty work, or you can use them to hold tragic memories. Like, you know how in Peter Pan he has a shadow? It's kind of like a very similar plot line of, like, shadows are a real thing, and you can, like, lose your shadow, and you can get your shadow back, and your shadow can be traded to other people. The concept is really cool, and this one had a romance in it, like, quite a bit of romance. I just personally feel like I could have done without that part of the book, and it just didn't wow me as much as the first one did, but it's over. But also, the ending kind of made it seem like it could be continued at some point, and I hope it doesn't get continued, because, like, girl, I'm tired. If you call it a duology, stick to it. Don't change your mind later and add more books to it. Stick to it. Keep your word. And then A Steeping of Blood was my highly anticipated release of this year. It is the second book to A Tempest of Tea, which was my favorite book of last year. And it was so, so good. And it was so, so tragic. I actually finished it right before streaming today, and I cried my eyes out violently. And then I had to go stream. And I was like, I'm so sorry if I look a little weird and, like, red-eyed. It's because I just cried. This is following a girl whose entire family is gone, whose people have been colonized, and she is trying to fight for them and fight for the well-being of those who are left, and she's trying to fight against this monarch who has its secrets, and she has her own secrets, and she runs a tea house by day and a vampire blood house by night. And she's so incredibly interesting, and, like, the first one had a little bit of a love triangle, and I didn't really dig that, but the second one I thought was fucking fantastic. I think it's actually better than the first one. It has the vibe of a heist. Looks like if you like Six of Crows. It has that energy. It's like a heist and a found family trope and vampires and a tea house. Like, it was hitting all of the boxes for me. So the second book I was very, very excited for, and it delivered for me It actually delivered so good, I wish that it wouldn't have been delivered because it was fucking tragic. I don't know what it is with this author when she, like, loves to have everyone be sad. But I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. When I tell you, if I saw you on the streets. This author loves to make me be in pain and cry. And I think there's deaths, and I think the deaths hit really hard because that's just like kind of showing the consequences of colonialism and showing the tragedy of, like, I don't want to use the word genocide, but kind of genocide, because like her people are pretty much wiped out, and the people that are still alive are like, they have no control over their own lives, and there's like quite a bit of death in the book. And I think that it's very tragic, but I also think it talks about, like, it shows like a representation of what happens when we let these people get into power and take control of areas of government they shouldn't have complete control of, because it was like this monarch, this government was in a lot more control than they even the people, other people in power didn't realize how much power the person had. And it's just, that's why we shouldn't allow anyone to have too much power, because unchecked power is never a good thing. So I highlighted this paragraph, and I feel like it's really important, and I'm just going to read it out. It's not really spoilers, but it says, "Why have you returned?" The sea seemed to ask her as it rushed against the sides of the ship. "Why are you here?" It was so ridiculous that it was maddening. Some strange and twisted hallucination that couldn't possibly be real. How could someone take over another land and live guilt-free? How could they destroy and pillage and act as if it was wholly natural and their right to do so? That literally describes what's happening to Palestine right now. Like, I don't know if that was the author's intent. I do think maybe it was, because the author has been pretty vocal about Palestine. But I read that and it gave me chills, because I was like, this is literally what's happening in Palestine and other places in the world. But I think the deaths hit really hard because it felt like it was telling like a correlation of real life. So I sobbed a lot, and I'm giving it 5 stars. And those are the last 2 books that I've read this month. I was supposed to read Holly by Adeline Grace, but I'm not getting to it because I was under the impression that this was a novella. So I was thinking 200 pages or less. I get my copy of it, and it's 380 pages. That's not a novella, girl. That's a full-size fucking book. So, like, this month was a hot-ass mess. Some of it on my side of things, some of it not on my side of things, because when an author tells you that a book is going to be a novella, to my understanding, a novella means that it's less than 200 pages. Like, I don't know if that's, like, factual, like, in-word description of what a novella means, but to me, it should not be. That's 372 pages a book. That's a fucking book. That's a book. I was like, because I was finishing A Steeping of Blood, and I had like 200 pages left. I was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and I'll read Holly, because I'm sure it's like 100 pages or something like that, 100, 150, 180 pages. It'll be totally fine. And then when I opened it and it was 372, I promptly closed it, and I was like, I'm not getting to this, which it is a holiday novella. And I think I'm just going to put it into the Christmas TBR, like my December TBR. I'll just get added there. I was really excited to wrap that series up, but girl, you led me astray with that description. Like, I even Googled it to make sure that I wasn't, like, guilt-tripping myself, but it literally says in the description of the book on Goodreads, a holiday novella. Adeline Grace, I'm gonna need you to look up what the definition of a novella is and come back to me, because I don't know if that's just like the size of my book or what. So that means that I read a total of 15 books, which isn't bad, but that does mean that I didn't get to one of them. And I did have to change some of them up because I messed up with the release dates, and some of them aren't even getting released anytime soon. Some of them I am not gonna read the series anymore. This is probably the worst reading month when it's come to my TBR. Like, this is the one month all year long where I couldn't fulfill my TBR and I had to change things. Not just once, not just twice. I think at least 5 times I had to change my TBR around mid-month. Like, usually I'll catch things in advance, then I'll just change it right beforehand. I was catching things as I was, like, trying to read the next book. And that was a shit show. And that's the first time it's ever happened to me, which goes to show that I am human. I am human. I don't know what I'm singing, to what song I'm singing that to, but the point of the song is that I'm human. And I make mistakes. And I'm not perfect. Even with a TBR that I plan out months in advance, I am not perfect. Books get pushed. I don't end up reading another series. Sometimes people call it novella and it's actually a 300-page book. Those are things out of my control. Because I did have a book that I wanted to read last month and I didn't get to, and I did read it this month because with the new releases, like, I shouldn't have done new releases. I should have just waited until October to do new releases, but I was like so excited for them. But doing the new releases really hindered me because I couldn't start the next book until the next release date. So then there was like periods of time where I was like, well, what the hell do I do here? Like, what do I read? Like, I definitely could have read more if I wouldn't have picked new releases. And like most of my TBR was new releases. So it wasn't a bad reading month, like as in like the actual quality of the book. It was just a bad reading month in the planning and the execution of the month. So let me just give you my stats and tell you what my favorite book of the month is before we get off here. Read 15 books. I've read 4,205 pages. I listened to 28 hours of audiobooks. It took me roughly about 2 days to read a book. And I'm going to say that my favorite book of the month is actually a tie. I think it's going to be a tie between A Steeping of Blood and Dungeon Crawler Carl. Because Dungeon Crawler Carl probably is actually my favorite book of the month because it's like, it really fucking wowed me. Like, I went in thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to like this because I don't like sci-fi. It's too hyped up. And then I ate it up. It's the one that genuinely surprised me to be a 5-star. A Steeping of Blood, I knew I was going to give it 5 stars because I loved it so much the first time, like the first book. So that one is like, I really enjoyed, but I knew I was going to enjoy it. Dungeon Crawler Carl is the book where I was like, I don't want to read that because I don't think I'm going to love it. And then I'm going to have to break up with Allie. Like, our friendship breakup's going to happen because that's her favorite book of all time. She's not going to talk to me if I don't like it. And then I was like punched in the fucking face with how good this book was. Like, so Dungeon Crawler Carl is probably actually like the royalty of September. But like, I also wanted to say that I really love A Steeping of Blood. Like, it's probably like really close to my enjoyment of Dungeon Crawler Carl, but Dungeon Crawler Carl was like getting socked in the fucking face and then laughed at. While also laughing at yourself getting punched in the face because it was just like so surprisingly good. And I loved it on audiobook, and I loved it so much on audiobook that I even got 3 months of Audible to continue the series. And I am in the middle of book 2. I started book 2 just on and off while I was cleaning and stuff, but I didn't get very far, like maybe 15%. I'll finish it at some point. I'm in no rush. I'm not even supposed to finish it anytime soon. So this is my September wrap up, and I hope that you've liked this. You can let me know what your favorite book of the month was. You can let me know how many books that you read this month. You can let me know if you've read any of the books that I read. You can let me know if any of these books you might want to read. Please forgive me for being a mess. I feel like I've been saying that so much lately. I feel like I've been in the cycle of this being a fucking mess. Maybe I should own it. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. I'm a mess, guys. Messes rise up. But I will see you guys next week or whenever I may see you. I hope that you have had a lovely September. Bye for now, friends.